Hi everyone, it's Paul. Let's look at another unknown effusion specimen. This one is a left pleural fluid on which we received 10 mils of blood-stained fluid. It's from a 45-year-old female patient, and the clinical notes provided indicated a history of melanoma and of ductal carcinoma in situ of the breast. So what did you think of this case? Well, it was pretty cellular. There were scattered lymphocytes, and I think there were scattered mesothelial cells as well. They contrasted with the atypical cells by having a darker cytoplasm on the diff-quick stains especially. There was a pretty large population of atypical cells, and most of these were in a dispersed arrangement as single cells, but there were a few loose groups, particularly on the air drides. The groups showed really no obvious organisation. There was no community borders or scalloping of the outline of the group, and there was no evacuation within those cell groups. The cells themselves seem to be larger than the background mesothelial cells, but they still had a fairly low NC ratio with a moderate amount of cytoplasm. That had no vacuolation typically, and it may have had some really fine pigment, but no certainly obvious cytoplasmic pigmentation. In terms of nuclei, they were pretty large, certainly compared to the mesothelial cells, and there was a bit of variation in size of the nuclei. Most of them were round or oval in outline. On the PAPs, they did show hyperchromasia, I think, unlike mesothelial cells usually do, and there were very prominent nucleoli present, single central nucleoli. And binucleation was present, wasn't a huge feature, but there were certainly binucleate cells in every. So we had extra material, not a lot, but we had enough to make a cell block and ran a panel of stains. The melanoma markers I'll show you here were positive, so we had melon A, S100, and HMB45 all showed positivity, and markers for breast primary such as EMA and GATA3 were negative. So in summary, this was consistent with metastatic melanoma in a pleural. As an example of metastatic melanoma in effusion specimens, this case was fairly easy. That can be quite a tricky diagnosis, especially when the cells are smaller than they were in this case. They can look extremely like mesothelial cells. They have about the same NC ratio and share some features with particularly reactive mesothelial cells, that is loose groups, prominent nucleoli, And as I said, that NC ratio can be quite similar. Both of them can have binucleation fairly commonly. Uh, in addition to that, the diagnosis can be quite difficult as the cells can be quite few in number, and the specimens, in my experience at least, are quite heavily blood stained often, and so you need quite good blood removal techniques. But as I said, this case certainly appeared to be consistent with melanoma. So I hope you enjoyed that case. Thanks for watching.